What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am always your host, Edwin, and where do all fights start? Round one. We have an amazing show for you here today. I want to know what you think about this Lamont Roach and Tank Davis situation, and should they overturn this decision? So I want to hear what the people have to say. So don't forget to like this video. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And like always, let's get right into this video. What's up, guys? How you guys doing out there tonight? I hope good. Well, we have a lot to talk about here, man. And it seems like the boxing world is divided here in the sense that a lot of Tank Davis supporters feel that isn't everybody entitled to a bad night at the office, so to speak. And what a lot of Tank Davis fans are saying is it was a close fight either way, and they feel that this shouldn't really, put a strike on Gervonta Davis's career. And then the other side says, nah, F that. They need to overturn this decision for more than one reason. First, people talking about the knee. And if he was awarded the point, that would have put him up a point, which would have awarded him the decision, right? What's up, Frontline? How you doing, baby? In the building. So it would have awarded him the decision. Now, in this case right here, I read that Lamont Roach's team submitted a letter to the New York Boxing Athletic Committee, same boxing committee that reviewed the Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney debacle, right? So now they're going to start their investigation. And I'm not sure what side you are on with this, whether or not they should award Lamont Roach the victory. Well, that would mean that they would have to give Tank Davis the loss. So Tank Davis obviously would have to lose in this situation, because the only way you could award Lamont Roach the victory, you would have to say victory over who? Who did he win over? So you would now be putting a loss on Gervonta Tank Davis's record, in which a lot of fans are asking for blood. They're like, yep, that's the way it should be. But I kind of disagree, because I don't see them overturning it. That's why I disagree. In a fair world, if they was to overturn it, and the only thing that would affect would be their two records, I would say proceed. I would say go after your justice. But if you do that, there's going to be a lot of fans that are going to be like, wait a minute, you owe me money. Because if in the record books it says he lost and I put money for Lamont Roach to win, don't you owe me money? I can prove he lost. How does that work? And look, in the situation with Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, see, it worked out that they overturned the victory on Devin Haney and they gave him back his O, and they suspended Ryan Garcia. Right? Okay. See, in this decision, the decision was a draw. There was no winner. Right? So if you overturn the decision and you make it a no contest, it's the same thing as a draw. The only outcome here would be that the fans of Lamont Roach get a victory. That's what they want to hear. I've seen worse in boxing matches that went to court and didn't get overturned. So I think by him and his team, doing this, I don't think they're going to get far. They didn't overturn Vasili's decision over Devin. I think he's going to get a quick response to his request. And they're just going to have to keep it pushing. I think it's all going to boil down to the fact whether or not the fans really want to see this fight again. I don't speak for all of boxing. And if the consensus of boxing world right now starts saying, yo, you know what? I want to see that fight again. And they start demanding it. Well, then I guess that would be the fight to put together. Some people feel that Gervonta Tank Davis shouldn't take another step forward until he addresses this situation. And they're using comparisons like Floyd Mayweather. They're saying when Floyd Mayweather had a controversial decision, he said, you think you beat me? And he ran it back with the guy and he beat him. The difference between Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta Davis is that at that point in time, Floyd wasn't ducking no smoke. He didn't have a line of men waiting to fight him in his division like Gervonta Davis does. See, Gervonta Davis has a lot of unfinished business at 135. And for a long time, we have been asking for these fights, and he just didn't give them to us. Now, he brings up Lamont Roach. Tank Davis did all of this. And although Lamont Roach had a hell of a performance, and he should be merited a rematch with that kind of performance. Any other situation, I say, he shouldn't take another step forward until you address that. But that's not what this is. Lamont Roach was given an opportunity at 135. He's not a 135-pound fighter. He doesn't belong in this division, and he never did. Unless he announces that he wants to enter the 135-pound weight division, that way he ain't wasting none of our time with these gimme fights that don't mean anything. You guys actually think that Tank Davis is going to give this guy another shot at becoming a 2-division world champion and possibly beating him? You really think that Tank Davis is going to sign up for that? Because, by the way, if Tank wins, he doesn't become a 2-division world champion. The only person in this situation that got a chance to win is Lamont Roach. Everything's in his favor. All Tank gets is a title defense to a champion that isn't a 135-pounder. So he didn't fight no champion at 135. Lamont Roach is the 130-pound champion. You can't get credit for that. Yeah, he's a champion, so you're going to say, I fought a champion. Okay. You can legitimately say that you can fight a champion, but not one in your weight division. You're not going to sneak that by the real fans and try to award yourself, I solidified this belt. As of right now, all you fought was a fax machine and Frank the Ghost Martin and Lamont Roach. None of those things merit Tank Davis the claim or the right to be called world champion. Although he might have that belt, yeah, I see it around his waist. Just tell me the man he beat for it. Tell me who he won that belt off of. Like every other champion, you go in the ring, you fight a champion, you beat him. And in the record books, it's going to have your name and his name. It's going to specify, I beat him for this belt. If you fight for a vacant world title, it's going to say the match was for the vacant, whatever, WBC 140-pound weight division. And it's going to say it. Whoever came out of that, guess what? You're the champion. You fought for a vacant belt. Tank got emailed this belt. He got an email. Devin Haney vacated it. He was the regular champion, Tank Davis, which the regular is not a real belt. So when he was notified to being upgraded, he went into the fight with Frank the Ghost Martin. Frank the Ghost Martin has never competed for a world title. He's never owned a world title, and he's never been a champion. And you didn't fight anybody in the top 10. Frank the Ghost Martin wasn't ranked in the top 10 when he fought him. So that doesn't solidify you as a champion. Now, technically, on paper, it goes down as a title defense. Those are the rules. Those are the rules. I get it. I get it. But where's the honor? Where's the respect? Where do we hold these fighters accountable and a high standard for being worthy champions? What's up with these paper champions? And we're allowing this shit. We're allowing paper champions to run free in boxing and giving them the credibility and talking them up with real champions. These dudes is paper champions. That's the truth. You have to listen. You in this sport, we're in a gladiator sport. The objective of the sport is to be the best, to be at the top of the mountain, to accept all smoke, right? And when I say to accept all smoke, don't do it like one after another. I wouldn't recommend that. You wouldn't have a long career. These fans are crazy. Oh, we want to see the best after the best. You fight that guy, then that guy. They think people are robots. No, you fight one best guy. You get a decent fight in between there. And then you gather yourself up, and then you come into another hard fight. And then you'll fight one or two in there that are like, if you're successful. I wouldn't recommend to fight like the list back then. I wouldn't recommend to go fight Marvelous Hagler, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Hitman Hearns consecutively. I wouldn't recommend that. Look what happened to Hitman Hearns when they did that type of shit. Unfortunately, have you heard him speak? Not a pretty picture, is it? You pay for all these punches. So the fact that these people are saying, oh, yeah, you're going to get in there and do that. Tank should be fresh as a daisy. He ain't had no wars. It's about time he gave the fans real blood and not this paper champion shit. I know Tank is a skilled fighter, and I believe in Tank Davis as a fighter. And although every fighter has that one guy that for some reason figures you out. And let me tell the boxing world something right now, guys. Let me tell you guys something right now. There's this little stigma going around after Lamont Roach, did that performance against Tank Davis. You know what they're saying? That because they feel that other guys could beat Lamont Roach and would fare better against them, then now all these guys mysteriously got this stamp of approval that they can beat Tank Davis. And then fighters are saying, oh, all they got to do is take a page out of Lamont Roach, what he did, and just go in there. Didn't you see what he did to Tank? Just do exactly that. You'll beat him. Here's the problem with that way of thinking. You see, everybody thinks just because you can look at a fighter and you can say, by watching him, I got him figured out. What happened to Devin Haney when he said to Ryan Garcia, all you are is a left check hook? He knew exactly what he was going to do. A lot of people thought that Errol Spence Jr. was a one-dimensional fighter. They knew exactly what he was going to do. But guess what? Just because you can say it doesn't mean you can stop it. Or you have the skills to pull it off. Just because Lamont Roach did that to him and everybody saw that, that's all you got to do, doesn't mean you have the understanding that Lamont Roach had in that ring with Tank Davis. It doesn't mean, and the guy can be more skilled than Lamont Roach. He can't figure out the small things Lamont Roach was doing. That's not how boxing works. Just because he can do something doesn't award him, just because I feel even though he might even be better, that he can figure that shit out. Devin Haney told Ryan Garcia, all you are is a left check hook. And what did he get hit with in the first round? Just because you know something doesn't mean you can stop it. And just because you're a skilled fighter such as Devin Haney, that he would have the evade, everybody in the world thought, nah, not only does he know what he got, he's got the skills to evade it. Really? That's a prime example for people putting their foot in their mouth and not understanding how life truly works. Yeah, you can figure something. Yeah, I can sit here and tell you, yeah, do this. It doesn't mean I can pull it off just because he did it. And I could be a better fighter than him. He can understand something I don't. Not everybody's going to come in there and do what Lamont Roach did to Tank. Let them think that shit. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead and think that shit. Tank's going to make a fucking meme out of you. He really is. Listen, Tank's only problem, he's a little guy fighting in a big man's division. He never belonged here. He's got skills, he's got punching powers, and don't let this night mislead you. Don't read too much into this. I'm telling you guys, although Tank ain't fighting no one, and I mean he ain't fought no one yet, right? Including Lamont Roach's ass, right? Because he's still a 130-pounder. Doesn't count. That shit don't count. That ass whooping counts for Lamont Roach. Lamont, that's what's up, brother. But that counts for you. Hey, did that do anything for Tank's career? Did that elevate his stock? Did it make Tank any better of a fighter? No, that don't count. Tank needs to start fighting these dudes, bro. And I said it this morning in my live. I said, could this be one of those situations in life where you think, damn, this shit is bad, and it turns out to be a blessing in disguise? Did this take that era of invincibility off of Tank Davis? I merely hinted to the fact that I thought these guys, might possibly weren't trying to fight him. Everybody got all over me and was like, nah, tell me one guy that didn't want to fight Tank Davis. And what I was saying was, brother, you're not in the room and neither am I. Just because Shakur says that or these fans tweet that out doesn't make it true. Honestly, the real truth, I don't know. I don't know if Shakur really is in the mic saying, yeah, I want to fight him, and behind, no, I don't want to fight him. I have no idea. You can't honestly say that that's not happening. You can't say that Loma didn't walk away from negotiations when they made that public and he never denied he didn't. So where is it that these guys all wanted to fight him too? At one point in time, yes, Tank needed to fight Loma. And I can honestly say at one point in time, he ducked Loma. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, he did. And for whatever reason, those fights didn't happen then. This morning, it was reported by the Ringside magazine that one of the reporters put out that Tank reached out to Loma's camp and they want to start negotiations. So I think Tank and them are going to try to relive it, that fight in for unification. Now that's what I want to see. Now that is exactly what I want to see. Let me read your comments. Fools, what? Garden? Davis can say what he wants, but if you get in touch and take a knee, listen, I can't argue that point with you. And I'm not about you. You know why? Because you're not a stupid man. You know the rules, don't you? Right? You know the rules, right? You guys all know the rules. Lloyd, all of you guys, what's up? You guys know what time it is. So why would I try to sit here and convince you that that's not what took place? But guess what went down on paper? What's going in the history books? I can't dispute that. Now they're going to try to make it and, turn the decision. That's on them. That's on them. This is all Tank's doing. But remember, none of this we wanted. Now that we got it, what should that halt Tank's future at 135 again? We never wanted this in the first place. Congratulations to Lamont Roach for your performance. Your performance, it's merit a rematch. Well, what you did, you deserve a rematch. Yes, you do. But not in this situation. This is another way for Tank Davis and his team to weasel out of the big fights again. And I feel like if we let him off the hook, I haven't seen so much pressure on Tank Davis in the last month in his entire career. I mean, the boxing world really let him have it. We all started figuring out, we started doing the numbers. Wait a minute. He fought, whoa, shit didn't add up. And then everybody woke up like, fuck, man. How do I argue every day for Tank? It's fucking true. Until you're smacked right in the face with it. Tank ain't fought nobody, bro. And we had him like backed in the corner. What did I say here at Round One Sports Talk? What did I say? I'm standing on my square. What'd I say? Tank Davis is going to let us all down. He ain't going to call out nobody. Didn't I say that? I said it. I said, you know what's going to happen? He ain't calling out nobody. Who'd he call out? Nobody. I'm tired of this game. I'm on the line with covering boxing. When people walk up to me, fucking Tank Davis conversations are a conundrum. You know he's good. You know he's powerful. What the fuck is the problem? What is the damn problem, bro? Right? And then I argue for him. He's a little guy in a weight division. Bro, stop playing with boxing. If you don't belong there, be honest with yourself. Because you don't want to train thoroughly to make 130 all the time. You don't want to watch your diet in between fights. That you choose to put yourself in this kind of situation. No. They're going to expose you eventually. And I think they just did. I think they just did, Mr. Tank Davis. It was remarkable for me to watch you box Lamont Roach. And for one of the first times I've ever seen Tank Davis fight, he didn't make no adjustments. He looked lost against Lamont Roach. He was like that superstar that was told, just show up. You won the fight. And when Lamont Roach didn't fold or wasn't intimidated or wasn't going to be pushed around and Tank found out he had a fight on his hands, it was too late. He didn't even know what round it was. The BBC throws such an event. They don't got the ring card girls jumping around with the rounds. They can't afford the girls. What kind of Mickey Mouse operation is this? What's up? What's up, Rip? What's up, Lloyd? What's up, Blaze? How you doing, brother? How you doing? Salute. Who do I really want to see Tank fight next? Why don't you come up and let's talk about it? I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. I would love to chop it up with you, brother. You know what you're talking about. I like to talk with people that know boxing. I like to have adult conversations. We don't gotta disrespect each other. I value your opinion just like you value mine, and I would always show you respect. And I would never have you come up here and have anybody like bum rush you or anything like that. That ain't going down on my show. I got a safe platform where we could talk boxing like men, you know. And even if you completely disagree with me, so what, baby? You know, yeah, I either feel like I'll debate you or I value your opinion. That's it. Because not everything has to be about that. For the bet, yeah, come on, baby, come on, swing through. I'm gonna have my man Blaze come through. I like chopping it up with him. A couple other people. He's probably gonna download the little thing. We're just gonna give him a little bit of time and shit. But all right, there's my man right there. There's my man's. I see you. I see you. You if you want, you can turn this camera. I'm about to turn you on now. All right. All right.
All
If you
right, bet,
want.
bet.
What's up, baby? How you?
Hold on, can
So
you hear
the
me?
question was, yes, I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, good. Thanks for having me, man. Good to see you cooking today.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Thank you for joining. You're watching me on the other end, and I'm hearing the echo. All right,
Okay,
you
okay.
corrected it. You got it. Yeah. Look. What do you think? What do you think with this Tank situation? Like, look, I was talking with you earlier, and I know a lot of people in here didn't see it, so I'm just gonna brush
Yeah.
up. The thing was, does Lamont Roach deserve a rematch? And I believe he does. I believe what the man did in that ring on Saturday night typically would award him a rematch. I feel that he outsmarted and he took Tank Davis to school. That is my honest opinion. And I believe Lamont Roach should be, but it was just that it was such a messy situation, and me as a fan looking out, we had Tank Davis backed in a corner, like we were, like he had so much scrutiny, and I kind of felt like he was feeling the heat. When this Lamont Roach fight went the other way, I kind of saw it a way for him to slither out again. And it wasn't that I don't want to see this fight, because I would love to see this fight. I don't want Tank to end his career by without running this one back. He needs to answer this one with Lamont. He definitely, right? But there's a place and a time for everything, I felt. And I just didn't want Tank to keep running from the Lomas and the Shakurs. Now we got a young, hungry contender in Keyshawn Davis, you know. And then I didn't want the people to start talking up Lamont Roach like, you don't get this man fucked up. Like he fought one guy 135, but he's a true 130 pounder. Let him rock in 130. I think you put him up against Shakur. I don't think it's gonna be a good night for him. He's not gonna look like these guys. You know, I'm just afraid it's one of those situations where a guy knew another guy so well, like had amateur experience with him, and he looked this good against Tank. A lot of people are gonna get the misconception that they can do that to Tank. They don't know Tank as well as Lamont did. And I really truly believe that. And when you fight a guy or spar against a guy enough, you know small tales about him. You're familiar with him. And I think that's why Lamont got that kind of performance out of Tank. And these rest of these guys think that, oh, if Lamont can do it, I can do it. And I'm telling the boxing world, I'm sorry, boxing doesn't work that way. It doesn't, just because you're skilled to pull this off doesn't mean you can. So that was my opinion. And how do you feel about it?
And I think like I said, Lamont shook everything up because he
Oh,
did
he
what he
did.
did.
He
Like
did.
he did what he did. So look, he's champion at 130 and he comes up. It's a controversial decision because
Yeah.
if he actually won that fight, he's in the conversation for unification because he beat Tank. Then we want to see him fight Shakur. We want to see him fight Keyshawn. We're gonna want to see these fights
Right.
because we haven't been able to get any type of unification and resolution at 135 since Devin, moved up to 140 and relinquished
Yeah.
undisputed. Like it's a collision. Like we all as fans, we want to see these guys clash, right? And then
Right.
now when Keyshawn got the belt, you got four great boxers with these belts, and we want to see them fight. Like, like,
Yeah.
like, think about it. Think about it like this. Like, let's before Lamont, and then there was a lot that went into Tank fight Lamont because remember he asked for Loma. Loma took the time off. Then Shakur injured his hand. Then who else was in the mix? He didn't just land on Lamont like he picked him and ducked some other people. There was other options that fell through is how he
Right.
got to Lamont, right? So
Right.
let's give Tank that. Let's not act like Tank wasn't trying to fight nobody because
Okay.
really the biggest thing was Shakur. But we know Shakur when he fought Edwin De Los Santos, he became damaged goods from a selling standpoint. He had to
Yep.
rehab that, right? Then he
Yep.
fought Artem. He handled his business with Artem, but between all the Twitter and between him being in the corner that day, talking about he gonna stop him and didn't stop him and not listening to his corner and just not putting on a subpar performance measured to the expectations that we have for him and what comes out of his mouth, right?
Right.
And so we was simply needing Shakur to be Shakur, put on a great tape and spectacular performance, and then be able to set up the Tank fight. And then what happened? He got cursed. So even like the kid Schofield, we wanted to see that hungry prospect bang it out, right? Up and coming. We wanted to see that fight. What happens? All that weird stuff with his dad. Then he pulls
Weird.
out. Then he fights. Then he fights Josh Padley. Very good fighter, but on 4 days' notice. Like if he
Yep.
had, like we would have respected the Josh Padley fight if he went through a full camp, but he didn't go through a full camp, and there's levels to this shit. So Shakur gets no credit for pitching a shutout. So then, okay, Tank fights like Lamont. We look at Lamont's tape. We just had an aura. What Tank was is we none of us could see Lamont banging it out with Tank. And he did. Because let's look at what it was supposed to happen. Think about what was supposed to happen, and then we both of us had when we shake our heads if Tank really did what they are claiming he was gonna do. If he gets Lamont out of there, then he steps in the ring with fucking Jake Paul. We would have been pissed the fuck off. Shakur would have been looking goofy because he's over here thinking, "Hey, I'm up. Let's unify. Let's make it right." And then Tank's gonna stick his tongue out like, "Aha, I'm going for the bag. I'm gonna put this fake fight on. Fuck what y'all talking about, right?" But
Right.
but see that so actually we might in actuality Lamont gives us a gift because now Tank really got a box. You see what I'm saying? He really got a
Yes.
box now. Ain't no charades.
Yes.
That's why I'm trying to say you got to look at it. We're like, and we got to give Lamont credit because, like you said,
Yeah.
though, matchups make fights, and it's a psychology thing. He knew Tank. He knew he's been in the camp with Tank. He done did the amateur fights with Tank, so he's not psychologically intimidated by Tank. So we
Correct.
bring it to him
Correct.
because even after this fight, I'm a big Shakur fan, but Shakur
Yep.
still hasn't showed me on tape that he's willing to not fight cautiously, hyper over cautiously against a fighter with power. So I would be now. Now he might. Now he sees Lamont does this. He might, but he ain't showed me no tape to show otherwise. That he's not going to
Right.
be overly cautious, right? That's why I would have Tank fighting because with Tank's IQ, Tank could cut off the ring, and Tank, I believe Tank will win an exchange with Shakur. But now Tank done showed his mortality,
Right.
and so now everybody's chomping at the bit because we got some tape on how you can deal with Shakur. And I want to give a shout out to Brian Norman Sr. I
Mhm.
seen him chopping it up. I forgot which show he was on. But his post analysis was he said Lamont when Lamont fought on the inside with Tank, it took away Tank's opportunity to to wind up them power punches. He can't fight good on the inside and get those shots off. Like if you watch him fight Frank Martin, it was beautiful for him because Frank Martin fought on his back foot the whole fight. And if you really look at
Right.
that fight, they try to say them first 3 rounds. Literally look at the first round. Tank literally had Frank touch his body, his leg or his calf or his body touched all 4 ropes in the first round. So he already was working him around that ring. So when you
Right.
see the end, when he knocks him out in the corner, Frank Martin was already on his back foot fighting defensively, but he allowed space for Tank to wind up. Tank was winding up lead punches on Frank, and he was getting. And even before the knockout, he wounded up some cold body shots. Then he winded up that left uppercut and that left hook to put him away. But I'm
Right.
coming back to say what I said is that if
Yep.
you can fight on the inside, you can neutralize some of the power that Tank generates with his punches if you stay
Mhm.
inside. And so now we've got something on Tank, right? And if you start slow, you got them fighting from behind. So now we got something on Tank to be like, and with the perception with the fans is that he's not invincible. Because
Right.
as a Tank fan, I said I ain't seen nobody yet at 135 that was going to be able to touch Tank. That's what before this fight. But I didn't see
Right.
what I seen now with Lamont. And so circling back, like I said, is that Lamont done messed up the party. Now, I'm with you though. If this Spurs Tank to fight Shakur, Tank to fight Keyshawn, I heard Tank talk about fighting Loma. Hey, I'm all for it. Because as a boxing fan, this is what I'm looking for at 135. Because I
Right.
like this division because I like how the level of competition, who got these titles. I want to see
Right.
unification bouts, or I want to see
Right.
mandatory bouts. That's it.
Right.
I don't want to see nothing else. I want to see
Right.
unifications or mandatories. You guys are holding them belts hostage, and you guys are the best at this, and you guys got good competition. And the thing with us is that old school is like, look, y'all fight, win or lose. You guys can elevate yourselves to some Hall of Fame status because you guys not fighting. Ain't none of them got records, no
No.
resumes to where we can be like they're all time greats. None
No.
of them got it.
No. No.
Now, if
Well,
they fight each other, they
yeah,
could,
I say
but none
that.
of them got it.
Right. I say that in my show. Right. When are we gonna go back into a time where it was more and go back into a time where it was more important the men you share the ring with, rather than trying to protect your what
Yeah.
Mayweather started. Mayweather got these kids thinking, no, don't take that risky fight. Don't jeopardize your right? When that coming from a man, well said from a man that fought the most champions in history. It kind of sounds like Mayweather's a genius. He convinced these young kids not to do that because by the time they wake up, they have half their career done. They'll never catch him.
And I think what Mayweather did also. Not only would he did that, but he bring Tank up. And so
Yeah,
and so what happens is and like I said, this can be a good thing or a bad thing. Like I come from the bottom, bro. I come from the inner city, bro. I come from like
same
some
place,
similar
brother.
situation with Baltimore, right? So
Yeah,
he bring Tank up, Gervonta Davis up, and got him to the bag. But he got him to the bag before he had to fight any type of competition, right?
yeah,
So he made him a prize fighter before he had to take any type of real risk. And unfortunately, that's a lot of money on the line because let's just I'm gonna be brief with it, but we can go back. When you look at Floyd, and what I love is that '98 Floyd. Floyd fought 7 times. He went 7-0. He had 5 knockouts. His sixth fight was a title fight, and the seventh one was a title defense. Right? And he was going in between HBO and being in Mexico and Tijuana. He was putting in work. But that's when he was with Top Rank, and then he bought his contract out, became Mayweather, Floyd Money Mayweather, Mayweather Promotions, and then he started getting the bag, right? But he had to go through a whole process and fight high level competition, and he fought Hall of Famers before he got to that. But he
right,
cultivated Tank to get. You remember they was on Spike. Then he got him with PBC with Al Heyman, and they got him as a prize fighter running numbers before he had to fight anybody. And so, on the one end, from a boxing story standpoint, it's like, hey, this messes up the sport because he's protecting the O and he's getting this dude to the money. But from an economic standpoint, it's like, hey man, this is the best thing you can do for somebody that comes from there, from where we come from, to have generational wealth. So it's like I'm
right,
conflicted, and I love boxing so much. Tank's not the end all be all. I can like Tank for what he is, a good showman, put on great performances, great surgical knockouts. And if he want to not fight nobody, all right, he's not going to be on my all time great list. He'll be like my all time entertaining fight that I really like when whoever he fights and dispatches, but
right,
he's not going to be in the conversation like I'm a Bud guy who really going to really challenge himself, clear out divisions, 2-time
right,
undisputed. You feel me? And really
Got
do
it.
his thing. So
Let me
that's
let
how
me
I'm
let me
looking at it.
let me share something with you, right? You're speaking my language, right? And there, I've been talking on my channel for
Like
quite some
going on
times, and
before.
sometimes I want
Like
to let somebody know what I thought
that.
about Tank.
Like
Personally as a boxer, at one
down
point in
and like
time, I thought he was going for
doing
legacy, just like you. Then I started paying attention to him when he was telling everybody that bugs don't mean nothing and this and that.
Yeah.
He was telling us the whole time. I just wasn't listening. Then I realized he was a prize fighter.
and
Then
so you
after
know
I
what
realized
what
he was a
what
prize
we
fighter,
get on that and
I
my
then
mom no.
realized,
Like yeah, that's not what
I
happened.
can hear your
No,
background.
that's not what happened.
Okay. Yep.
So
After I realized that he was a prize fighter, then I said to myself, no, Tank's much more than that. Then I really realized what Tank was. Every now and then, an athlete will come into a sport where you're chosen by your people. You're chosen to promote greatness for your people. And history has shown us every time they try to promote one of the great ones, like Ali or something, and he tells them, let me take this fight. And he talks them and he goes and loses. And I think a lot of people put a lot of money behind Shane Davis in his career, but you're right about something. Floyd Mayweather did mislead him. He knew that he had somebody really good and skilled, but Mayweather doesn't want to give up those records. He can spare with the money. He'll give you generational wealth, but he won't split his records. Mayweather loves walking in the room and being recognized as the top dog in boxing, the only man to fight that many world champions, and he's a 5 division world champion. By the time Tank Davis woke up and saw that he was misled, he was 30 years old. And Floyd knew what he had done. See, Floyd will guide these kids to wealth, but don't beat his records. And what also happened with Tank was that once he was chosen by the people, see, what made Tank Davis so successful was that you bought a ticket early in his career and you were going to get a glimpse of Floyd Mayweather sitting in the front row. That brought a lot of celebrities out, movie stars, and he gave Tank Davis that start he needed. All Tank had to do was take care of the rest, and he did. But what happened? The people chose them, and he couldn't lose no more. And behind the scene, I think they were really tying his arm, saying, no, you got to take this fight. We can't afford for you to lose right now. Tank, you'll get those tough fights later. But for right now, we got to make you like something big so that the kids looking up, the little children looking up, say, that's our guy right there. And I get it. Mexico chose Saul. Every country does this. Japan got Naoya Inoue. And sometimes they don't want their guy to take these risky fights. So what did Javante Davis do wrong in his career? I feel he let these people drive the car. They drove him right into a wall. Then, if you ask me, the PBC seems to be going down. And I think that Al Heyman, rather being a true captain of a ship and spare your crew, don't allow your crew to understand they have families, mouths to feed. Don't take them down with you. This dude is going to take the whole ship down with him. He got David the Monster Benavidez speaking like this, Tank Davis speaking like that, making sure they burn their bridges with Turkey. So when he goes down, he takes everybody with him. Kind of like the guy that gets up and says, who's with me at work? And he walks out by himself. I feel like if the PBC is not going to evolve with boxing, then don't hurt your guys if this is what's gonna happen. But every time they try to count the PBC out, they rise up like a fucking phoenix. Al Heyman is something else. I gotta tell you, he's great for the sport, and I like those guys. But lately, um, I just think that times are changing, and I can't deny that Turk is bringing a lot of good boxing to here. But as far as like Tank, man, he was in a situation in boxing that I get it. I get it. I get getting the bag. But, and one thing I wanted to share with you that you said too, that it was real interesting that for a long time, I used to put my vision on a boxer, meaning I would say, I want you to go for greatness, legacy, unifications. And then until the time I stepped back and said, what's wrong with the boxer that goes up, becomes a world champion, and doesn't have the skills to unify? He's okay with just having one belt. Rolly. Rolly never had the skills to unify. He was lucky he was ever a world champion, but he did it. What happens to men like that? Do we push them into the lion's pit for our own pleasure, or do we let a man make his own decisions? I'm fine with defending the belt in my own ranking system. I have no desire to unify. I never said I did. And there's men like that, and I was like, okay, I get it. Not everybody's going to dare to be great. Not everybody has to unify. And that's me projecting what I feel a man should do with his career. But the minute, and I mean the minute, they start saying that shit out of their mouth, why are these boxers mad at us for holding them accountable for what came out of your mouth? If you said you were the baddest, you said you wanted unifications, then why are you mad, Tank Davis, and we're calling you out on it? You know, if you said you wanted to do this or you said you wanted to do that, you know, you got on and said Shakur Stevenson hasn't done nothing. What did Shakur do when Shakur has a better career than you? You came out and said you were never ducking Loma, but you never fought him. You said that you would beat Devin, but you never fought him. You told George Camboza, I'll fight you if you vacate all 3 belts. And these are the antics that Tank was doing. So is he a prize fighter? I said to myself, how is he a prize fighter if he's denying the biggest bags?
I think he's an entertainer, and I think what it is he's a boxer, but he got to the bag and the money. See, the money is with it because it's a lot of money. Because what we're talking about is there's a lot of boxers. There's some boxers that make $800 a fight.
Yeah.
There's millions of dollars on the line every time Tank gets in the ring. Tank can fill the Barclays up with anybody that he wants to go in there. So his calculus and how he moves is different. It's just an extreme level of economics. The
Yep.
economics supersede the boxing with Tank. Luckily, at least for Tank, he has been fighting somewhat C-level tier competition, like
Yeah.
certain people, you know. But at the end of the day, the economics, like me, I simply follow, like you said, I follow what the boxers do. So I don't superimpose because there's so many of them, right? That's
Mhm.
why I love Bud, because it's not about who I want Bud to fight. It's like I want to watch a grown man, you feel me,
Right.
fight the highest level of competition and make the decisions and get in that ring and dare to be great every time he gets in there.
Right.
And that's what I like about Bud, right?
Right.
And you know, that's why I was disappointed in Shakur, because Shakur is his little homie is in his camp, but he doesn't have that temperament. You know, he's got the young generation thing. He does the back and forth. Then, you know, and then the boxing, then just, you know, just like with Edwin Del Santos, like I wish he never took that fight if he was injured, because it really messed him up in the sense of he couldn't handle that criticism
Right.
of what he got when he did it. I could respect if it happened and then he moved on and all that, but it's all the banter, all the back and forth, all the excuses, all the wishy-washy stuff that came in it. Then, you know, how it got into his head with his next fight, where he felt like he tried to force the issue of Artem when all he had to do was be himself. And where we
Right.
finally got to see him be himself with Josh Padley, and now he's matured, because even though it was so-called electrician, he did exactly what he was supposed to do, and now he's saying everything he needs to say to make his next fight a good fight against high-level competition.
Right. And what do you think about Tank's situation? Thinking, I'm just asking the question. I think Tank is asking himself, and he's actually thinking life after boxing. Like, what do you do? Do you take these fights and damage yourself? Because after your career is over in boxing, there's life after boxing. You're gonna be all of 30 something years old. You know, you got your
And
whole life ahead of you.
and what I'm thinking is he's accelerated path of Floyd without the legacy. That's why he was about to bring Jake Paul in the ring in his prime. That's why we
That's
was going
crazy.
to like, and we was going to be looking at this like, we're going to look at this like, hey, no, even as a Tank fan, we can't agree with this. I wouldn't have been able to agree
Lamont
with
saved
that.
us all.
Lamont say exactly. Lamont saved
He
him.
saved us all.
But look, Lamont, what I believe is Lamont saved him because he came into that fight. People can argue he was disinterested. I think it's conditioning. I think he kind of weathered down at the end of the fight. I don't think he was focused. You see, his camp wasn't focused. Calvin and them were all arguing. I
Right.
think he wasn't locked in as a
Nope.
boxer, and I think
Nope.
I think with the ego, I think he felt like, hey, and go and fell for the hype. And I'm gonna tell you, like the what like I'll bring up Devin and Bill.
Yep.
Devin and Bill fell for the hype with Ryan. Ryan tricked him and he tricked me,
Oh.
but I'm not the professional. Listen though, he tricked me because after
Yep.
all the annex and all the stuff I said, Devin, go in there and knock him out. But that's not Devin's style. Devin is supposed to fight. Devin is supposed to use your jab, outbox him, use your reach, and keep it pushing. But he tricked me, and what it was is I woke up to my senses. But it's easy for me. I don't got to get in the ring. But
Right.
Bill put that in in Devin's head to go get him. I watched this fight with my wife because she loves boxing. And I swear, first round, when when Devin let Ryan hit him, bang him with that left hook in the first round, I was like, he lost his fight. Because and I compared it with Tank. Because one thing about it, Tank came in sharp with Ryan. And one thing he did, he avoided that left hand at all costs, and it
Yep.
paid off in dividends in the second round when he dodged it 3 times and came over the top and put him on his ass.
Right.
And that's the first thing you got to do. And I know Devin had it in him because when he beats Loma, what did he do significantly with Loma that was significant with neutralizing Loma's
His
gift?
body shot.
He,
Devin Haney went down to the body.
and look, that's secondary. But because you go to the body, but the body neutralizes his footwork. And
Yes.
so if you go back and watch that fight, all the phenomenal footwork that Loma has in the pivot and those angles, Devin was dancing right with him. See,
Yeah.
Devin took away Loma's footwork,
Right.
right? So that's what I'm saying. He had to train for that because if you take that fight and then you take how he fights, he fight Cambosis. You take that fight. You take when he fought Pro Regis.
Mhm.
He goes in there and fights and makes adjustments to his opponent, just like Tank does when he's sharp, right? But he
Mhm.
totally threw that out the window with Ryan because he thought he was unhinged. He thought he was crazy. They had him in his feelings, and he ran and ate a left hook in the first round that hurt him.
He knew
And
all
so
the answers to the test and failed the test.
and failed the test because of the ego, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to respect what everybody knows what we supposed to respect Ryan
Yeah.
about is the left hook.
Right.
And so that's the thing with Tank. Tank got in there where he think he can just freestyle, check it in. And it's crazy because he knows his opponent, but he goes in here disinterested, saying he's going to retire, say he's not going to retire, saying individuals who are, and I'm going to tell you with Edwin, what I didn't like what Tank was saying is how are you going to say these guys don't deserve to fight you when they have the titles? So anybody that you can unify with is deserving of a title shot. Like if we're
Right.
talking about high level boxing, you can't say these guys haven't done nothing to fight you if they got the other belts. Make it make sense. And so that's how we know his head ain't in the game. And then, like I said, if he was bringing Jake Paul, it ain't in. So my thing, like I said, with him now is he's backed into a corner where he's going to give us what we want as a boxing. Because if he want to continue his career, right? Even from an economic standpoint for superstardom, he got to run it back with Lamont. And if he don't run it back with Lamont, he got to fight one of these
Right.
legitimate fighters.
Right.
He can't fight Jake
Right.
Paul. Then we're gonna be like, hey, you're gonna tarnish the amount of money you can bring in because we're gonna be like, hey, this dude's a fraud. Hey, you got this asterisk by you with Lamont. You rob Lamont, you feel me? And that's gonna be
Yep.
what he's gonna get. And then he's with his ego, he's not gonna be able to handle it. And so
Yeah.
if he's a protege or he's going with Floyd, and I only compare him with Floyd in certain instances, is
Yeah.
like I said earlier,
Right.
when they made the criticism with Castillo, he ran it back. When they had the criticism and they was trying to say, "Oh, Madonna could have beat him," he ran it back, and that was for his business. He want to make sure that, hey, I want to be able to have my branding as being TBE the best ever. There's no
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
that people can run around after my career and say that these guys beat me. Because now they can say, you can argue all you want about the first fight and say the Steel got robbed, but he clearly whooped him the second fight. You can talk that stuff about McDonough. He clearly whooped him the second fight. And then
Mhm.
he has the highlight of having phenomenal tape against a young, they say it's a young, but he got 42 fights in of Canelo. But he's got Diego Corrales. Come on, man. You know Edwin.
Yeah, I know,
You
I
know
know
who
who
the
he is.
best TBE
He's on
guy.
my
You know
wall
who
for a
he is.
reason. He's on
Come
my
on,
wall for
man.
a reason. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
legit.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's like, look, it's like, look, Lamont Roach's situation when Tank is this, like, when Tank Davis says he's the best at 135 and that no one deserves to fight him, I want to share a fun fact with you. If he's so much the best at 135 and he no one had done nothing to share the ring with him, okay, then why is he the weakest champion? Stay with me. Check this out. According to what's going on in the 135, Keyshawn Davis fought Baranchek for that belt. He actually fought a champion. Shakur
Yeah.
Stevenson defended and fought for his belt,
Yeah.
and Loma fought George Camboza for that belt, and he was a former world champion. Devin Haney, you fought a fax. I mean, Tank Davis, you fought a fax machine.
Yeah.
They
It was
emailed
emailed.
you your belt.
Yeah.
You didn't fight a champion. You fought Frank the Ghost Martin. He's never competed for a world title, and he wasn't ranked in the top 10. So when your validation that no one's done nothing better than you, quiet as kept. Don't tell nobody I said this. But in actuality, he's got the weakest title run out of all the fighters in 135. He might have the best star status. He might move the needle when it comes to dollars and cents. That I won't dispute. He's the man when it comes to that. But if we were to look behind the curtain, Mr. Tank Davis, your title run is the weakest one at 135. But don't tell him I said that.
But look though. See, he was hidden by the spectacular performances that he was putting on.
Yeah,
And see, now it was with Lamont because now it's like, okay, because it's like belts don't matter. We're like, okay, and then you got an argument with the politics with the belts and all that's going on. And, there's an argument for how there's too many belts and whether they matter or not and all of that. But now we got tape on you not looking the best. See, that's what he got away to what he looked like. And the looks forgave everything with the spectacular knockouts. Because let's be clear, Tank wasn't just with knockout power, just knocking fighters out. He was outboxing them and lining them up. Those were surgical hits that he was putting on. He was really lining
the more we
these
talk about it,
stoppages up.
the more we talk about it, you're like a used car salesman. You're selling me on the fact that
Yeah,
shit, I'm not gonna mind this Lamont Roach 2 fight more than because if we just like if I calm down and I just accept Tank for who he is rather than who I would want him to be, I see such a skilled fighter. I
yeah.
expect so much more from him. And I hold Tank at a high standard. I believe he's an exceptional fighter. So if I gotta just look back up and understand, you know what? Tank ain't just gonna fight these guys. He's gonna protect his career. He wants to leave the game with as less hits as he can and with the most money in his pocket and right off into the sunset. So if that's the case, well then you need to turn around and handle Lamont Roach for putting his hands on you that night that, you know what I mean? Because then it is what it is. I mean, but if he if he doesn't fight anybody else, let's say he doesn't fight Lamont, Shakur, or Loma, or Keyshawn, and all of a sudden he brings up another cab driver, I'm done. I'm fucking done with him.
And,
I'll
and
just like
everybody's gonna
I
be
won't
done.
know how to measure him.
But
Yeah,
but
he's
like
got
I
to do
said,
one of those
it
three things. Then
it's not consistent with him. But one thing about it, like when you look at it and look back, it's obvious what Tank's about. Tank surprise spider, he's about his bag, right? And he's about
yep,
protecting, he was protecting that all. So what I'm telling you now
yeah,
is, and like I said, the only comparison with that prize fighter stuff and getting to the bag with Mayweather is you gotta clarify these doubts. So you
yeah,
gotta get this rematch in. That's the only because and it played out because remember after the fight it was weird. We didn't know what he was talking about when he was there. Was like, do you want the rematch? And he was like, yeah, I want this fight first, but it's not gonna be first because it was the money fight. It was that money fake fight with Jake Paul, right?
right,
Big bag, easy money, right? And so he was like, I guess they were saying rumor was he was under contract. But when he has to wake up and see everything that everybody's talking about, and then actually hear Lamont and what he's talking about, then what he say? I'm pushing for the rematch. But now I'm interested now to know if there's a rematch because I feel I'm hearing he's upset because Lamont's actually trying to challenge that decision. And I'm
Yes, yes,
and honestly, and then I think Tank feels some type of way about it because when he comes to, it's like, all right, it's arguable. It was a draw. People are saying he could have won. People are saying he could have lost. But if there is a mechanism, and I don't know what the commission can do, I don't know if it's a no contest. Because if it's a no contest, I think that might be the best thing for Tank because then it eradicates the draw. But and I
right.
don't know if they
It'll
can do a
actually help
loss.
Tank. It'll actually
Yeah,
help.
it'll actually help Tank, right? But
Right,
his thing now is I'm thinking he's feeling some type of way that if it is possible for them to give him the L, he don't want the L. The draw is always still better than the L because if he gets the L, he has the L. He loses the O. And if he's so-called claiming that Lamont, he put Lamont on and Lamont is his friend, he's feeling disrespected and he's feeling betrayed that, hey, bro, you're trying to sue me to lower my branding. And so now I'm not sure if with the rematch is going on because there's so much emotions and so much stuff is happening. Right. And so I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. What they're really talking about with these lawyers and what the commissions can do to change. Because, and then honestly, I don't think they should change it. There's so much gray area because there
yeah,
are scenarios in which the ref can stop the fight. I believe that was a knockdown. I believe it was too close with the action and engagement. He took a knee. I believe Tank knew he took a knee. I believe he thought it was 10-8 because if you go watch that fight, he turned up the rest of that round like he was down.
right.
Like I thought he knew like damn I got to take this knee. Damn
Yo,
it's
check
10-8,
this out,
but I've
brother.
been winning.
Check this out, brother. Check this out, brother. Right. Even though when we look back in history in great fights, one of the best fights I can remember all time of a person getting solution in their eyes is this gentleman behind me, Muhammad Ali, when he
Muhammad
fought
Ali.
and
Listen,
Sonny Liston.
listen.
And
Yeah.
they did that on accident in their own corner. Did Muhammad Ali take a knee, hold the action, go to the corner and wipe his face? No, he fought through that. When that blood was coming down from Tim Zoo's head and was going in his eye against Sebastian Fundora, did Tim Zoo say, hold on, let me wipe the blood out of my eye? Now I'm coming by the fight. He had to fight through that. For the fact that Tank Davis, his head is this big, that he actually thought he was big enough in boxing to hold the action himself. And guess what? He was right. When his protege, Floyd Mayweather, one time was having an exhibition fight and didn't like the way the ref was talking, Floyd fired him and got a new ref in the fight.
I think that was with Gotti. Yep.
We've never seen anything like that. I know it's exhibition, but we've never seen. So you think Tank didn't see that? And they don't push around their status in boxing? Tank really thinks he's the shit. He really thought that he had that much power that he could alter action with no penalty. Guess what? He was right. When the referee turned around, I didn't even argue the fact about the knee. I just wanted them to explain to me why Tank didn't get disqualified. Because the minute Calvin Ford touched his face with that towel, the match was deemed a disqualification. It's in
Exactly.
the rule book. It's in the rule book. No person can touch the fighters unless there's a physician doctor at the event, and the referee must hold the action so that the doctor can check you out. You can't even instruct your corner. You can't even yell instructions to your corner why that's going on because that's a foul. So if I can't even talk to you when they sent Lamont Roach to the corner, you can't wipe Tank Davis's face. The match is over. It's over. He got away with 3 consecutive things, like one, and I was like, if anybody here, I'm sorry, ref. My man has been in some major boxing matches, but your credibility just went down the toilet as a referee right there. You're the third man in the ring. You got to take control of the situation. You're the one that knows all the rules. The boxers don't know all the rules in boxing. You'd be surprised how much boxers actually know about boxing. They usually typically just focus on the fighting. That's it. And they learn as they go. And The referee needed to take control of that situation, and he knows the rule book. That wasn't a foul. That was merit disqualification.
And I think, like he said, I think Tank just got beside himself because it's like, bro, what in your right mind you think you can take a knee and go over to your
Yeah,
corner? And then also look, what I seen is I seen the braid go into his eye.
oh,
Cause
I
that
see.
grease shit is some BS. Because just think, if it was grease and it was sweat, we would have seen him have problems throughout the fight. Like you
Right.
said, when stuff got into Ali's eyes, that was for a long time. Wasn't it like a round or two? He had to
Yeah,
deal
until they
with a
kept
long
putting
time.
water, and it was a process.
Yeah,
Tank
it
never
was a
wiped his eye
process.
again.
He, he exactly. That's what I was trying to tell you. So it's not the grease. Like I said, I hate that my Prime Video when I got the pay per view, it only shows you the prelims when I go to the main event. So I ain't been able to rewatch it. But I'm
Right.
telling you, they showed the slow mo after that round and the was left eye, and then
Right.
that's when he got discombobulated and took the knee. So you can just imagine, like, if something hit your eye before, like that, it seriously hurts. Like, boom. He think it's
Right.
grease. And he just feels a burning sensation, and it's like it don't feel like a punch because it wasn't a punch. It was the braid, but technically it was the punch. The punch caused the braid to go into his eye.
Right. Right. Hey, say that. A guy was talking about it earlier. I forgot where I was at. And he was saying that even like if a jab in the knuckle hits you in the right place in the eye, I remember that when I used to fight. It's true. Even a jab, if it hits you in the right place, you'll go like that. If and especially if it shocks you, right? Being Tank being such a high fighter, I'm not sure if that's ever happened to him. And does the punch look like much? I can't say that it really did. Tank looked fine when he set, and then all of a sudden he just kind of went down. But I think he really got beside himself. Here, a little braid snapped him in the eye. He probably didn't say the braid. He said grease. Then he had to go with it. He was trying to say the same thing. But something definitely went in his eye. That doesn't deem you the
Yeah,
right to stop the action. Does
Exactly.
not give you the right.
And I would say, think about it. It's not even necessarily that it actually hurt, but you already know something hit you in your eyeball. It causes a reaction to your body. Like, man, I might go blind. It's more of
Right.
that. It's not even necessarily with pain. It's something
Yeah, shit.
flicking to your eye. And then, like he said, his explanation was, hey, man, I'll take the knee before I'm blind and get caught with a shot and get knocked out. Like, I think that was a legitimate reason. And so I really thought he took that knee knowing it was 10-8. But he went to the corner and wiped his face off, and then he talked the ref out of doing the making it a knockdown. So that's the controversy with it. That's
Yeah.
why
No, the
what the issue
controversy.
was.
Yeah, but the controversy also comes out in Tank Davis's initial statement. Follow me. Check it out. He said, "I took the knee so that I could stop the action, so I can get up and walk and wipe my eye." When he turned around, he said, "I didn't know that was going to be counted in a standing 8 count. I just needed to wipe my face." Wait a minute, Tank. Let's just think about what you just said. You knew if you took a knee, it did what? Halt the action. You knew. So at what point, Tank Davis, do you believe that in boxing there's something called a timeout? So where was it, and how would you have been penalized? In the history of boxing, Tank Davis, tell me anyone called a timeout. So how do you explain taking a knee, knowing that it would have stopped the action, but there was no consequence for it? So you went as far as saying, "I'll take the knee because it'll give me a timeout." Where does that play in boxing? So
And that's where I kind of disagree with you. I really think he took that knee thinking it was gonna be 10-8. I
you
really like
think?
if you go back and replay it, because that's what I heard. He said I took the knee,
No,
but
I'm
he
talking
didn't
about what
say
he said. I'm talking about what Tank Davis himself said in the post-fight interview. He said it himself. "I didn't think you were going to count that as an 8 count." And I told him to stop counting. When they asked him in the post-fight interview, I watched it, and he was
okay.
talking about the situation with the ref. And he said it himself. He said to the dude, "I didn't think he was gonna start counting." I said, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "No, no, 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 no. I got grease in my eye." And then the rest said, "Okay." And then me and him talked. And then that's when the whole world was like bullshit. Because when he gave his explanation at the post fight, Tank was the one that said that. He said, I took the knee and I knew it was going to stop the fight. And then when I went back, I turned around. The ref was counting. I said, what the fuck you counting for? And then he explained it to the ref. So the fans were like, if you knew that the knee was going to halt the action, what'd you think the penalty for it was, Tank? A timeout? You really thought that in your head? You know, like,
And
I
yeah,
was like,
he thought some crazy stuff because he
he
now
did.
like I
I
said,
just think,
even
I
if he
really
misses
think
that,
he
he
thought
walks
he's
to the
bigger than
corner.
boxing. I think
Yeah,
he thinks he's bigger than boxing, Tank. That it was a weird situation, but look, let's be honest, right? Did Floyd Mayweather get knocked down that day? Honestly,
you talking about with Hernandez?
not with Hernandez when he broke Homeboy's hand. That Floyd Mayweather's glove touched the canvas.
Or are you talking about Zab? Or are you talking about when he fought Zab? Or are
No,
you talking about when it was Hernandez? When he hurt his
no,
hand and took a knee.
no. Unless his name is also Hernandez. Hernandez was the first champion Floyd Mayweather fought at 130 for the belt. He fought Hernandez. That was the first title shot he ever won.
Yeah, yeah,
Floyd
that's that
dominated.
98.
Right. No. Floyd was a monster then. Okay. I'm talking about when Floyd broke his hand. He had the white gloves. I forget the fighter's name, but Floyd had him looking like the Elephant Man. His face was like this big. His nose was like that big. Floyd broke his hand and went, ah, and touched the ground. That is the only recording of Floyd Mayweather ever going down in a fight. He never actually went down from a punch. In fact, the guy threw a punch, he evaded it, and Floyd just merely touched the canvas himself voluntarily with his hand because of the pain in his hand. And the ref started counting 1, 2, 3. Now, the boxing world has seemed to have forgotten about that because none of us accept it. None of us accept that Floyd went down that day because, in fact, he never did. It's the truth. The guy didn't even hit him. Floyd broke his hand on his face, went backwards, and went shit and touched the ground. And the ref started counting.
I
And
lost my
we were
sound,
like,
brother.
what?
I can hear you. I can't hear you. So I don't know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
lost my
yeah.
sound for some reason. But keep cooking.
You got me? You got me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I can't hear you at all. Hopefully you could hear me and you fix it. But yeah, those were some like
Yeah, I
controversial
lost my sound for
knockdown.
some reason. I cannot hear you.
You
I don't know
cannot
what
hear
happened.
me?
And so I'm trying to find it back. I might have to exit and come back.
All right, brother. All right. Yeah, man. That's an interesting topic with Tank. About this situation about overturning something. I've seen a lot of bigger fights that didn't get overturned. So I'm on the line that they're not going to overturn this one because I've seen closer fights and real moments in a fight that I'm like, yo, you need to overturn this fight. And for whatever reason, the Boxing Athletic Committee finds it real hard to overturn a decision because they understand that a lot of things must transpire. Record books got to be changed, rankings, things like that. And this debate, whether or not do you get awarded your money back or whatever in the fight. I got you. Yo, brother, you here?
Yep, I'm back. I'm back.
Right. Yeah, so I was just keeping it going and stuff, and I was just saying to the fans, like, like this is the situations that we are in sometimes in boxing, you're damn if you do, you're damn if you don't. Lamont Roach, I've been saying it. He deserves a rematch with Tank Davis. And there was always like when you say in your comparison, you know, Tank tried to tell the world just before this fight that he was better than Floyd. He was better than Floyd. He was, in his style and everything. And then after this fight, I want to ask the world, do you guys still think he's better than Floyd? What Floyd did wasn't easy. That shit was not easy, and these young men right now got trying to fill these legends' shoes, but they should pay homage to our legends that have paid the way for them and provided a world stage for them to continue to do what they do. It's men and women like this, our legends, that really set that stage for him. And you know, uh, yeah, man, Tank for me, man. He's got to fight one of these big guys. He's gonna have to eventually. He's got to fight somebody.
And but what it does is it just makes everything interesting. It elevates everybody else because even with the fanatic fans,
Right. It does.
now
It does.
Tank ain't as separated. He's not separated from the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
That fight showed that anybody can have action at him, or arguably those. So now we want to see. I mean, because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm a boxing fan. I want to
Mhm.
see Shakur who he fights next. I want to see who Sean fights. I want to see
Right.
if Loma's gonna fight or if he's gonna go away.
Now, what if
Like
this
one thing
did
about it,
this did
135 is
something?
lit.
Yeah. What if this did something though, where that the other fighters think Tank is sweet now because they're gonna really hold him to that performance. Let's say a lot of these things are true. Tank Davis was distracted. He wasn't really getting along with Calvin Ford. He wasn't as focused. And what happens if this really wakes Tank up and he gives it a persona that he's sweet. We got him. And it
And
gets
that's
to these fights.
and then when that's what I was thinking. I'm thinking for us as a fan of Tank, this might be the best thing for us. Because
Might
if this wakes up Tank and he gets in fight and he gets focused and he really gets in and he really tunes in, then we might see the best version of Tank,
version of him,
right?
right?
We can see the best version of him. So I think this might be, and I'm telling you, there's economic interest in it. That's why it's
Yes.
interesting for me. It's like it's in his best interest to
And what weight did
whoever
he
he
think
fights
he was going to
next.
fight Jake Paul? What weight did he
Because
thought he was going to fight Jake Paul at? If Jake Paul's like 190 and Jake's all of 135.
no, it was going to be a fake fight. He wasn't going to even train for it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That was going to be just a travesty. He was just going to coast. That's not a real fight. Come on, bro. We know that's
Yeah.
not a real fight. So that's what
No.
I'm trying to tell you. We would have shook our heads. Real boxing fans, we would have looked at that shit and been like, hey, and he would have laughed at us all the way to the bank, right? But we would have moved on. But I'm telling you, as a fan, I don't hold Tank to them expectations. Tank's not in the cards for my all-time great. He ain't
Right.
showed me that.
Right.
And I can read, and he don't have to show me that. He can be rich forever. He did what he did. He can do what he do. I'm not mad at him. Like I'm not. You feel me? But I'm
Right.
because I want to see the businessman. Keyshawn's
Yep.
on a mission. Let's talk about Keyshawn for a second. Think
Yeah.
about Keyshawn. Think about
Yeah.
think about where he got to where he's at. What was this? His 14th fight? So that
Right.
means and think about what Top Rank did, and he must have controlled his destiny because he
Mhm.
kept fighting the most difficult competition he could possibly get in the ring with to
Yep.
get all the way up to that title shot. And not
Let,
only
let,
did he fight the difficult thing, he looked good doing it. And he's
let's check this
aggressive.
out. Right. And check this out. Check this out. For as fast as everybody is saying that Keyshawn Davis did this, let's keep this in mind. He did this with this record at this pace with 2 fights taken away from him for weed. Let's remember that. He got 1 fight
Come on.
taken off of his record because his record could be better. Okay. And Keyshawn went and that shows his level of dedication that when they took those fights from him, he woke up and was like, nah, man, I ain't gonna let this moment slip away. And then he started taking those tough fights. My man came in 6.5 pounds overweight. That was unprofessional. Keyshawn still chose to take the fight. And he proved to the world, Mr. Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, that 3 pounds wasn't going to determine the fight.
Come on.
Keyshawn went out there like a sniper and caught back and
Come on, Edwin. And you remember everybody was so traumatized by Haney getting his ass whooped by
3
Ryan.
pounds,
Oh, he shouldn't take the fight.
3
Oh, he
pounds.
should pull out. Oh, it's dangerous. All this other shit. And then he handled his business. But not only that, where he handled it in Norfolk, Virginia, in his hometown, with the high school band, with his family, with his mom, with everything. And
His
then
sisters
after
got
that,
in a car accident. That was
come
on
on.
his mind.
The day before that, come on, man.
Yeah.
And he locked in and he was focused.
Locked
And then
in.
his next fight, He goes into Madison Square Garden, the brightest lights you can all arguably have, just venue wise, and he shows up.
The
Like
young
Keyshawn
man
is a
showed up.
bad man, and he done been through that adversity. It's like one
Oh,
thing about Tank, like Tank going to jail, that was adversity for him to kind of
right.
have him show up, and he done been through some adversity to where his career's been threatened, and or with the weed things and all that. And then he had a son. Like this young man's very very mature, but he's sharp, and he
I
don't
think
get
the
no
best
credit.
thing he did, I think the best thing he did, honestly, was go with Bomac and Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford put his wing around him and show
Yeah,
him the ins and outs of boxing. You don't see Terrence Crawford with all the bling bling. You don't see
no,
Terrence Crawford out there drinking and drugging, smacking his wife, flipping his car. That's the
no,
message. Those are the men you should be looking up to and follow.
yeah,
Those are the
and
but yet our society wants to promote the gold chain, the you know what I'm saying, the
And
partying.
Edwin, let me speak on this, brother. As a black man, right? Let me get on this camera right here. As a
Yep,
black man with my daughter, as a husband,
gorgeous.
right? As
Yes.
a father, as a homeowner, coming from where we come from, right? Like handling my business and being responsible, man, is hats off to Bud. Like Bud's
Oh,
doing everything right how he's supposed to do, and not getting caught up in these stereotypes and this buffoonery that this media portrays. Because
well, I
please
don't think
believe
so.
there's a bunch of us out here that are being
Yeah.
responsible, that are taking care of our
Mhm.
kids, that are being loyal
Right,
to our wives, that are breaking generational curses, right?
right,
And
right.
like you said, with Keyshawn, him taking Keyshawn under his wings, Keyshawn's taking the mentality of Bud too. That's what Shakur's missing. But I think Shakur's getting it too. Because I think they're all friends. If you notice how he's talking now, if you notice how he's
Right.
conducting himself now,
Yep.
like I think he's growing up too. But we're watching
I
it. We're watching
I like it. I
men.
like it. I like that Bud there's an echo now. Um, I like that Bud took Keyshawn and them his brothers in and everything, even Shakur. He's like over there building the X-Men. You know what I'm saying? And he's teaching these young men, make your money, save your money. Don't go out buying $70,000 gold chains. That's what they want you to do. They want you to talk this way. They want you to be this way because it reflects who you are as an individual. Stay focused in and out of the ring. Yo, he's up there in Africa too, making boxing gyms, giving back to the community. How many of these boxers have given a penny back to boxing? How many of these guys are supporting the sport that gave everything to them? What are they getting back? And what are they teaching the next young wave? Like Abdullah Mason, like Boo Boo Shushu Carrington, like Camille Moulton. I love Camille Moulton, man. That kid is something else. And I'm nervous. I gotta be honest with you. I've been down this road before where I saw the young men rise, the rise and fall, and all of a sudden he's on 60 minutes somewhere, you know? And I hate
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I hate that.
yeah.
I hate it because they don't they instead of backing our young men, they teach them how to self-destruct.
Especially when they have an opportunity, brother. Because I do the nonprofit work, right? And I
Yep.
serve my community, and we got a whole bunch of our kids, our young teenagers and early 20 brothers that are like they're lost. With
Right.
this fentanyl, with these
Oh,
gangs, with these shootings, and so it'd be sad to see and a young black man with gifts and have an opportunity,
yeah.
and then you see him on 60 Minutes because it's like, hey man, we don't. They come from places to where you don't get these opportunities. You don't make it psychologically to even put yourself in a position to succeed and
Right.
and and then blow it. So yeah,
Right.
I'm glad you point that out because it's like, hey man,
I
it'd be
mean, I
sad
mean,
for us to see that.
listen, in real time, I watched the Charlo twins, Jess, and watching Adrian Broner go through what he's been going through. Adrian Broner was a remarkable talent. There's right there the true definition, like to me, wasted talent. You went into the party and you stood too late. You forgot what got you to the dance. And it happens to the best of us. I fell in for many pitfalls in my life. I come from Newark, New Jersey, where you needed two IDs to walk through just the front door to get through a metal detector and a wand. And that's just to get through the front door. So it was like my inner city has always been plagued with drugs. I've always, whether I had a family member directly, indirectly, had a friend, fentanyl was touching, killing all my friends. I've been to so
Yeah.
many funerals, and to be where I'm at today, my family tells me every day, Edwin, you have 9 lives, huh? And I'm just like, no, I'm really meant to be here, because I am a good person. I just believe I was raised in fucking hell, excuse my language. And I just always felt like I had to do what I had to do. And I fell through the pitfalls until one day, me and my sister got into a conversation, my older sister. She said, Ellen, why do you always blame your environment for the way you was raised? I said, because it was true. I was born in hell. She said, we were raised in the same house. I chose to get on the bus and go to school. You chose to hang out with the homies. She said, I chose to go to the library and you chose to go right. We got the same mother, same father, same neighborhood, same house. I grew up, graduated college, and you went to the other college. And I looked at her and I was like, she was like, same situation, two different outcomes. It's truly based on you and what you do. What were you attracted to, Edwin? You wanted to go out, make fast money, smoke weed, have fast life, cars. That's what you chose. And then you're going to blame it on mom? At what age do you take responsibility, Edwin?
And I think that comes from, just being this men in coming from the inner cities and how we got to survive, but being boys, but then being able to survive to be a man. Like, so what
Yeah.
I learned is like this, because I come from it. I did 18 years in the pen. I did 18 on a 30-year sentence and was,
Mm-hmm.
became a paralegal and got out and got some other people out too on my way.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it's like this, when we're kids, we're not bigger than our environment. But if we survive it, we're able to we're products of our environment. But then as we grow and mature, if we survive and become men, then we're producers of our environment. It's kind of like you're born out the soil, right? But then as you grow, you're able to till the soil and cultivate the soil. So if you're able to survive by the blessings, right, of a higher power, because we know we got peers that are not here, so we can't claim credit necessarily for us surviving that hell, right? Not on our own,
I take it.
right?
I take it for misguided information. I
Yeah,
was raised, and I went out of my household to find love with a group of guys because I couldn't find love at home. And when I found the love from my homies in my corner, at least they were outside under that city light with me when it was cold at night. And I ain't had nowhere to go neither because I didn't want to go back home because that was hell. And then um you show your loyalty to the wrong people. And that's how I fell down a lot of things before I realized that this corner was owned by the government. And we were
exactly. Me
making
too.
we were making up our own battles in our heads when we went
Yeah,
out looking for trouble. Like
yeah,
we were so amped up as young men that we actually thought we had beef every day. But if
yeah.
you stare
Exactly.
around and look,
It was
we
it was in
don't.
your head. It was
It
in
was
your
in my
head. Yeah,
head
it's just
the whole
turned up.
time.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was walking
yeah.
around with an attitude because I was just thinking I had to be this way. And unfortunately, my mom was right. I wish I could just grab you when you were young and shake you and get you to see everything I saw. And then she broke down and cried. And she knew you're gonna make your mistakes too, son. I just hope you live long enough to change your ways. And I
Come
didn't
on.
understand what she was talking about then. I'm all of 14. And she was right.
And you made it, brother.
And
You
you
made
boy,
it. And we
listen,
got a story
you
to
have no
tell.
idea. I
Come
mean,
on.
you do, brother. But like, you know, um, I got to admit, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, Edwin, would you be a homeowner today? Would you have moved out from where you come from? And would you have been the man? At 100%, no, I could not. I didn't believe in the system. I kept fighting it. Now I can say in the last past 10 years, every dollar I've made has been an honest dollar and a hard day's work. And every dollar and everything I've ever saved, I got to show for it today. Everything I've ever made back then, and I had more money back then, but I have nothing to show from it from back then. Not one thing to show from money I made illegally or just like that. But everything I worked hard for is still here today. I can
Yeah.
honestly say that.
Yeah, we taxpayers. Proud taxpayers.
Motherfuckers take it. Them blood
Yeah. But yeah, and just having this conversation,
yeah.
it's a human thing, right?
Yep.
And us coming from them trenches where we get into the boxing, but then it's like it's the human experience. So
Right.
where when you're a true fan, it's like you're not just looking at these guys box. And then if you did any type of training and street fighting and all that, they putting their life on the line too. So you
Right.
got to understanding of is deep. This ain't a sport. This is the only sport where you can literally, where you're going in there and intentionally harm the other person.
Right.
No other sport does that. This is a different type of. This is a different type of. This is just a different type of battle. This is a different type of competition. Yeah. And I would say, I think, Ed, when I point out when I be on there is like the fans is so passionate because it's almost like because you're rooting for somebody who somebody else is trying to harm. So it's kind of like your homeboys. Like, you feel me? You be like, hey, listen, you ride or die for your homeboy. That's why the fandom for boxers is so
this
so passionate.
Too crazy. They rolled up on the lady that did his hair. Did you hear that?
Yeah, man. Grown man, bro. Tripping, bro.
Man.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. But this era is zesty right now, man. This is just, there ain't no code, man. You already know no women and children, man. Anyways, in the mix, man. And this is, like I said, it done gone too far. And I think, Edwin, too, it's the internet, bro.
Yeah.
Like I used to like it when we didn't have it. So remember, you just had to wait to the fight. When we didn't know until the commercial came and they said the fight was legit. But everything in between is just too much nonsense. It's too much clickbait.
What's up with all this yelling in front of the CO shit? Why don't you just
exactly.
be quiet?
Come on.
Why don't we go in the room real quiet?
Come on. Come on.
Don't say nothing.
Talking crazy in these chats, threatening people in these chats. Come on, man.
This. Yo, you want to fight me, bro?
Yeah.
Yo.
Exactly. It's different, man. Exactly. And it's just,
I don't know this YouTube.
It's
YouTube
nasty work. Yeah, YouTube's crazy.
They microphone warriors.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They behind their desk, like really into it. I'll fuck you up. I don't where they do that at. I don't. I'm old and shit, so I'm getting used to it. And I learn how to calm down. And some people get me confused because I'm real passionate. Like, my family tells me sometimes you could be intimidating. I don't see myself though.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know I'm doing it, and I apologize for it. But like, if you was my boy and shit, like my boys, they used to it. They
exactly.
He's just hype, But they know I'm not gonna lose control.
Exactly. It's like Clay. It's like Clay knowing both of us. It's like Clay. It's like Clay knowing both of us. So when he's seen us passionately debate, he's like, nah, them guys is cooking. Don't trip. It ain't, them guys know what they talking about. They just cooking. You feel me? Gray recognize Gray because, if you just on the internet, you think people be talking crazy and doing all type of crazy stuff. And I just fall back when they do that stuff. I'll be like, listen, man, you got it, man. Listen, man. You feel me?
Who's just talking about pull up. I'm in California. You're in Massachusetts.
Drop the location.
Like, right. Like, shut up.
Oh man.
It's just crazy, man. But yo, man, it's been a pleasure chopping it up with you, Blaze, man. I'm about to shut it down right now. My wife keeps calling me into the other room. I gotta go squeeze her butt. I gotta go squeeze her butt. So you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Listen, I got the 2-year-old on my arms right here, and I got my wife. I got quality time to do with my wife too.
Oh man, you know how it is. You know how it is.
Yes, sir.
Dads, we never get a day off. We can't call it.
We can't not at all. Not at all.
We can't take a knee. You know
no knees.
No knees, bro.
No knees.
You know what I mean? we gotta step up and handle our responsibility. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir. It is
So, brother,
beautiful.
listen, man, it's been a pleasure chopping up with you, man. Always swing through. You're always welcome here. If you ever see me on, just send me a text and let me know, man. We can always talk it up and talk boxing. So, fight fans, thank you for tuning in. Please show your support for the channel by hitting that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. My man Blaze. Peace.
Yes, yes, sir. I'm gonna
On
catch
to
you on
the
the other
next one.
side. Peace,
After
brother.
this one, I see you then. One, baby. Peace.